As we come here on Remembrance Sunday, it might bear no significance to you at all. Okay, you might, it might just be something that passes by each year. You see people wearing poppies, yeah, that's nice. Stand for 2 minutes silence, and all the time during those 2 minutes, you're stood there thinking, how long left till I can sit down? Possibly, I don't know. But there's something about watching at the cenotaph, watching it live, as those who have fought before look on, as those who have given their lives, their loved ones, come to remember. Of the chimes of Big Ben and the cannons that go off, and of the sound of the last post, which is the name of the trumpet thing that was given by the bugle, well, not trumpet, it's a bugle, isn't it, Owen? It is a bugle. And of the poppies worn as a sign of remembrance, and the silence that literally descends on London during those 2 minutes. It's quite something. And yet today, Christians across the world, well, we can wear crosses around our necks as a sign of remembrance. Silence descended at the foot of the cross as Jesus breathed his last breath, but we rarely stop to remember and contemplate what Jesus has done for us, the sacrifice that he made and the love that was shown. So many in the past, out of love, will have fought, have given their lives as a sacrifice. They have fought for the freedom to protect and save the people of their country. They gave their lives so that others would find freedom and so that they wouldn't lose theirs. Today, that's what we remember. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down his life for his friends. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Perhaps you might know that verse. It's probably one of the better known verses from the passage that Emmanuel read out. You've got a slightly different version. I think this is from the NIV. But this isn't talking about a soldier who's finely dressed, ready for battle, armed, suited and booted, on the front line battling for their country. Actually, it's speaking of a baby wrapped in cloth, lying in an animal's feeding trough, who became a man who was stripped of all of his clothes, who was beaten, who was mocked, and nailed a tree to hang there and die, in order to defeat the power of evil, the consequences of sin. It was to end the war of all wars, for all people of all nations, not just one country, but of all nations. And it's in this love that I want us to see two things this morning. Okay, very briefly before we split off. So it's not a soldier finely dressed for his country, full of weaponry. Actually, it's a man who was stripped of his clothes and nailed to a tree, hung there to die. And these two things that I want us to see are the cost of love and the hope of love. Now, the cost of love can be costly in a whole variety of ways. Our parents do so much for us, we might not recognise it as much as maybe we should. Okay, but our parents do an awful lot for us. Go out of their way, out of love. Anyone give an example of something that their parents have done for them when they've maybe had to sacrifice something? Elliot?
Bought us a puppy.
They bought you a puppy, yes. Perhaps they didn't want a puppy, but they knew you guys did. So they sacrificed their own wants and the problems and the time that they thought that might bring with it to make you happy, because they love you. All right? Anyone else? Another time when their parents have maybe sacrificed something out of love for them. So brilliant. Okay, if you're doing the early shift at work, they've got up at 3 o'clock in the morning to take you there to the airport. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Right. Out of love. So that's an example. Our partners in the future, okay, well, they might do anything they can to make us happy, to show that they love us. Love costs, not just in time and money, but also in our lives too. To those who love him, Jesus called them to deny themselves, take up their cross and follow him. For all those who wanted to save their lives would lose it. That's the cost of following Jesus. To all those who love him, that's what Jesus requires. Deny yourselves, take up your cross and follow me. Now, if you would call yourself a Christian here this morning, I wonder, are you willing to make sacrifices for your faith? Maybe to a certain extent you are, but not much further, I wonder. What things get in the way of you doing that? Perhaps maybe your own comfort. Maybe you've got a reputation with your friends and those around you at school that you can't face to lose. That's not a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Maybe you're not really bothered. I know quite a few teenagers can't be bothered and can be quite lazy for some things. Maybe you don't want to get up to come to church on Sunday. But you've sacrificed that lying to come to church, to worship, and to spend time learning and growing. Because despite not wanting to, actually, Jesus wished at one point that he didn't have to go to the cross. He knew the cost that it would require, but yet he loves us, he loves you so much that he went through with it, that he was still willing to go through with it. He cried out to God. You might have heard these words in the Garden of Gethsemane before he was arrested. He said, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done." He asked his Father, if you're willing, okay, if there's any other way, let me not have to go through with this. Is there any other way that this could happen? But deep down he knew there wasn't. He knew this was the only way. But yet he still cried out to God. He didn't really want to face it, but he knew he had to, and he loved you that much that he would still go through with it. Even when we don't really want to make those sacrifices, when we don't want to get out of bed, perhaps on a Sunday morning to come to church. Yeah, Joe's yawning at the back there, right? When we don't want to follow God, we want to do our own thing instead, we don't want to make those sacrifices. Jesus knows how we feel. He's been there. He knows exactly what it feels like. He knows exactly what it's like. Love costs. Love has a price. It involves a sacrifice. And it requires our lives. If we love God that much, if we're willing to serve him and to follow him that much, then we will be willing to sacrifice ourselves for him. To lay down our life, take up our cross and follow him. So are you willing? What's stopping you? So yes, there's a cost, but there's also a hope in love. There's also a hope of love. The British soldiers who have fought and lost their lives didn't do that for nothing. You'll be pleased to know. Okay, they gave up their lives to give us, as a country, hope. To provide us with freedom. And as Christians, we too have a hope. We have an even greater hope than that of freedom. We have a greater freedom because of the death of Jesus on the cross. That's given us life in our place. He was nailed to that tree and hung there so that we wouldn't have to be. We've been given freedom and life. Freedom from sin and its consequences, and life everlasting in heaven. And that's what you can have too. Ultimately, all the effects of sin and war will one day be destroyed, which is a radical thought. Absolutely radical. One day, all wars will end. All conflicts will end. And that's why we can join with the words in Revelation that say this, you probably have heard them before. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. And it's because of that too, that in the face of any battles that we come across, maybe within ourselves, maybe with other people, it's in the face of those that we can join with Paul and say, where, O death, is your victory? Where, O death, is your sting? That might bring a song to some of your heads, I don't know. But death, sin and pain, well, they've all been defeated. And as Christ was raised from the dead and ascended into heaven, you can join him there. One day when he returns, actually they will all end for good. That is what freedom truly is. And actually we're going to spend a few moments thinking about that now by sharing communion. Alright, slightly different, but it is the way that Jesus taught us